Okay, the next speaker that I'm going to bring up, technology is a really good thing, okay? Because the next speaker was speaking in the room over there. And the next speaker was saying some negative things about yours truly. However, I have the mic now. And payback is a something, they say. Actually, I'm going to be very nice. I'm not. I actually have a lot of respect for this guy that's coming up here. I think that what he's done here at Shackley is quite remarkable, hitting Master Coordinator in 5 months. I think you guys, yeah, absolutely. And I think that you guys can learn an awful lot from him. So help welcome Carlos Blanco, Master Coordinator.
All right. Well, good afternoon. How you all doing? Could you guys really hear me when I was telling people about how I'm the smoothie king and Roger's like the pretender? Were you guys hearing that part or no? Well, I'll just share with you really quickly, okay? What happens is every month, on the third Thursday of every month, Roger and I do a group Shackley 180 party at corporate offices. Okay, so every month we're there. We're going to be there on the 15th of this month if you guys have people towards, Pleasanton area. And they're open. We do them in a group. And I've come up with some great smoothie recipes. I've got Marianne right here. You tasted one of them yesterday, right? And that's even without all the stuff. But anyways, so Roger will work a table and I will work a table. And like my table, people get in line, like the line's from here to the end of the room over there. And then like Roger's table, he's holding up the picture of smoothies. Anyone want a smoothie, right? And so he even starts to offer money and stuff. And, to get people to go over to his table. But they kind of don't. Hey, don't be cutting down the time over there. They're messing around with my time. No. For those of you who I've never had the privilege of meeting before, my name's Carlos Blanco. And it was about 2 years, 4 months ago that I joined Shackley. Whoa. Okay, so it was about 2 years, 4 months ago that I joined Shackley. And it's been an absolute blessing. Now, during that period of time, just so that you all know, I was born in Mexico, so I am proudly 100% Mexican. I grew up in Southern California, and not too long ago, I had an opportunity to visit up in Canada. So I went up there with Ian and Karen Grant in Canada. And so I did get adopted Canadian. So see, I got my hat on. Pretty cool, huh? Did I mess up my hair? So I've got to thank the Canadian Home Office. They gave me, I've got my Canadian hat in my room and everything. So I borrowed this from Herminia. And I told Herminia Medrano, my good partner over there, that I'd give her this back in October. So she'll get it sometime soon. But anyways, it's my pleasure, my privilege to kind of share with you some concepts that I've used for the better part of 25 years. I'm new to Shackley, but it was about 25 years ago that I made a decision that what I wanted to do, my formal education is accounting. And it's an account that you count other people's money. I wanted to count my own money. So I started looking for opportunities, and I came into this industry. And so over the last 25 years, I've done different things, but I'm back to my roots as a distributor. And the reason why I love being a distributor is we have no cap as to how much money we can make. The other day, I loved, watching Sean talk during the Future Masters. And Sean shared that last year he had 2 commas in his 1099. 2 commas, that means he made over $1 million for the year. And some people ask him, did you ever think that would happen? And his answer was, of course I did. Why do you think I'm here? Okay, we are headed in that direction. We will lead, absolutely no doubt about it, or else I wouldn't be here. Okay, or else I wouldn't be here. So that's where we're headed. But let me start off by sharing with you some of the things that I follow and I do on a daily basis, and how my mindset is as I'm building a business. So it's all about developing your business skills. And when we talk about developing business skills, you must always strive to be getting better. You see, the formula is very, very easy. In order to earn better, you must simply become better. You see, you always want to be making little changes every day that are going to lead you to be a much stronger person. And it all starts off with identity. Some of us have been fortunate enough to go through a new training that Shackley is developing with a company called SureLoss. Those of you who went to New Directors Conference, those of you who went to Future Masters, you sat through a portion of that. And when we get stuck in a rut, when we get stuck in that wall, as we call it, as we're going through that training, it talks about developing your business skills. You have to rely on your skills. And the most important skill that you can have is your identity. Know who you are. Know why you are doing this. If the why is big enough, the how will take care of itself every single time. So have a strong identity. Have a strong identity. People ask me all the time, Carlos, what do you say when people walk up to you and they ask, is this like Amway? Is this one of those MLM things? People never ask me that. They don't ask me that because I have such a strong identity and I believe so much in what I'm doing. I'm really helping people's health. I'm really helping people, who need a better way financially. And because my identity is so strong, the question does not come up. You see, when you are strong, when you feel certain about what you're doing, you can't be stopped. So anyways, establishing your identity, it all starts off with belief and certainty. So you want to believe in yourself, you want to believe in your company, you want to believe in your products, and you'll have no problem doing the basics, which I'm going to share with you a little bit later. So that belief will create an attitude of that it will work. You see, you should never go into something by having doubt. You need to go in knowing that it will work no matter what. You're going to make this work. So your attitude must be strong. And then when you have the strong attitude, you're going to take the correct action. I'm from Southern California. We have the 5 freeway. I see some familiar faces from Southern California. The 5 freeway runs from San Diego in the south, right along the Mexican border. It goes all the way up north to the Canadian border. And let's just say that the road is Shackley. Let's just say that Shackley products are the vehicle. And let's say that I were to give you, I put you on the 5 freeway in a Ferrari, the finest vehicle, right? A Ferrari, an Aston Martin, just the way Shackley products are the finest. And I say, I want you to get to Canada, but I head you south on the 5 freeway. Are you ever going to get there? No, you're going in the wrong direction. So it's important that you take correct action, that you go in the right direction as you're building your business, and this will give you positive results. And so if you practice every single day, it's going to take you to where you want to be. But again, you have to start off with that belief and that certainty, because if you don't, it will also go in reverse. If you don't have that belief in yourself, if you don't have the belief in your products, if you don't have the belief in your company, you're not going to get anywhere. But again, when you do have it, it's going to help to establish your identity. And so what the results are going to do is they're going to reinforce your belief. As you're getting those positive results, it's going to reinforce you that you are doing the right thing. It will further establish your identity. It will make you that much stronger, which will put you in a position of strength. You see, people never question whether I'm doing the right thing or not, because my position is so strong. That success that I've been able to have, I leverage that. So you want to leverage your successes, put you in a position of strength. It'll, again, give you better results, and it will lead you to more success. So it's kind of like, we talk about the yo-yo effect, about the weight loss and diets and so on. It's like the spiral that begins to happen, and it can go forward and it can also go backwards. So it's very important that you spend more time working on you than on anything else. You're the most important piece to the puzzle in this business. The other piece is that you want to be consistent in what you're doing. You see, it's like pumping a water pump. How many of you have seen when you begin to pump a water pump, you're pumping, and the water begins to rise? Now, what happens if you stop pumping? The water goes all the way back to the bottom, doesn't it? You have to start pumping all over again. So it's important that you do have some fast success, but it's also important that what you do, that you are consistent each and every single day. And so don't set out goals that you can't do, that are too unrealistic. Don't talk about, I'm going to go out and I'm going to contact 100 people a day. That's not the approach. What I do is I do something which can work for me 3 people a day, 4 days a week. That's 12 people per week. That's 50 people per month. And I take them through a process that I'm going to share in just a little bit. But that consistency every single day is what makes the difference. And there are 3 basics we do. We share product, we share the opportunity, we promote events, and then the personal development part, that's part of what we do all the time. But here's what I'd like to suggest to you. What I do, let's just say that you have 12 hours per week that you're going to work this business. This is what I would recommend how you would want to break out those 12 hours per week. You always want to share the product. And the way we do that is we do it through the Shaklee 180 parties. I love Shaklee 180. I love all of Shaklee's products. I truly, I would never, ever consider using anything else. Shaklee 180 has really simplified things for me because it's immediate results. Now, I used to make the mistake back when we just had cinch, right? What I used to do is I used to just put the cinch powder into water, shake it up, and say, yum. And it was good. I could drink it. I really, I'm one of those people that, I could take it. It's no big deal. It's no problem. And then I would go ahead and I would share it with people. I would go ahead and just shake up the powder and water and say, drink this, right? And they'd kind of look at me a little bit weird. And I'm like, well, don't you like it? Well, not really. It tastes kind of like powder and water. And I'm like, oh, darn it, I should have added some milk. Okay, so I thought the answer was adding some milk. And when Shaklee 180 came out, it's the same thing. It's how I was doing it. And then I had a young group of people join the team. I don't know if JoJo's in the room here, but the first time I made a smoothie for JoJo, she kind of looked at me and she's like, oh, it's pretty bad. So I made a commitment. To get better. And I started paying attention to the recipes. And how many of you have tasted my smoothies now? I'm the smoothie king. Not self-proclaimed. I've been voted the smoothie king. So it's not a self-proclamation I'm making. So I make the very best smoothies. I've got some great recipes. My favorite one, I put like 4 chunks. And you got to pay attention to this. This is very important because you got to do it the right way. Okay, what you do, you start off. I never use a big blender. I use just like the single blenders because the big blenders, what you do is when you just put like a single serving in there, it doesn't like really, grind up all the ice and all of this stuff. So you got to use a single serving blender unless you're making for like a whole bunch of people. And what you do is you got to take 4 mango chunks. You got to be precise about this. 4 mango chunks, 4 chunks of pineapple, 3 pieces of ice. You want to take a quarter of a banana and 2 little strawberries, not too big. Okay, you want to blend it for exactly 44 and a half seconds. Just play. Now, I used to use almond milk, I used to use soy milk, and I used to use milk, but there's no PV when you buy from the supermarket. And so what I began to do is I began to make the best soy milk in the world, which is just instant soy protein, half a serving in water. And so you make your own Shaklee soy milk, best soy milk there is. And now you add the vanilla smoothie onto it, right? And that makes the best smoothies in the world. And that's all I began to do, just sharing more and more of those, and it began to make a huge difference. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to have your Shaklee 180 parties, your own personal ones. They take about 2 hours with the planning, the inviting, and all of that goes along with it. And then you want to start supporting your team parties by supporting 2 team parties per week. And these take you a little bit less, about half an hour less, because you're not doing as much of the work. When you do that, that's about 3 hours per week. And then, of course, you want to share the opportunity. People who attend the Shaklee 180 parties, you want to sit down and you want to share with them how our opportunity works. And I'm going to go through that in just a little bit, something that I do when sharing the opportunity. And then, of course, the personal growth section, developing the skills, through Shaklee University, through some of the archive calls. You can even do that in your off hours. Don't go out trying to share the products and share the opportunity at 12 midnight. That's when you're doing the personal development out of your own home, okay? So you want to go about it that way till you're a director. Once you're a director, what you're going to do, you're going to go ahead and do 1 less party per week because you're going to invest more time into sharing the opportunity. You're going to invest more time into your personal development, getting yourself ready for executive coordinator, getting yourself ready for master coordinator. So this is how you want to invest your time. Now, that's if you have 12 hours per week. A lot of people ask, well, Carlos, how did you get to master coordinator in 4.5 months? Well, instead of doing this per week, I did it per day. You see, I only work half days, and people misunderstand. They think it's 4 hours a day. A day is 24 hours long. Half a day is how much? 12 hours. Well, with driving time in California, add another 4, because I drive a couple miles out of my home, right? And traffic is so bad, it does take that long. So this is what I follow. And so again, you got to commit to being consistent, and then you want to focus on result-producing activities. And here's what I've nailed it down to. We call it the STP5 formula. We all know STP, the fuel additive. STP times 5. This thing is very powerful. The first part is you have to see the people. I believe in social media. I do Facebook. I do a lot of stuff. But at the end of the day, we're in a business which is belly to belly and back to back. You have to be in front of people. You have to get in front of people. And when you do so, what you are doing is you're taking them through a funnel. Okay, now I talked to you about my ratio. If you look at my ratio, It works out to be about 20%, 3 people a week or per day, 4 days per week. That's 48 people or 12 people per week. 4 weeks a month, that's about 50. So if you're looking at this ratio here, for every 10 people you talk to, approximately 2 are going to join you, either as customers, as distributors, Shakti 180 specialists, and this is what you do. You have to create the invitation. We had trainers this morning already talk about creating invitations, how to go out and how to share this. So I'm not going to go through anything at this point, but the information has already been shared with you. Use some introduction videos. I can go ahead and I can do a presentation over the phone, no problem. But I demand the videos because it's duplicatable. I use the Jackie McCoy interview a lot. I use the You're Invited video a lot. I use the Why Shakti, Why You. I use the Shakti difference. That's how I'm sharing it by videos, because people learn to do what you're doing. And so by sharing those videos, it keeps it consistent. It keeps it duplicatable. Make them a delicious smoothie. Again, I'm the smoothie king. You guys can go ahead and be, smoothie kings yourself as well. There's more room than for just one smoothie king. So proclaim yourself the smoothie king, and if you believe it, you will be it, right? I mean, Roger Hill believes it. We know better, but he still believes it. And then, of course, take them to a Shakti 180 turnaround party. And then once they are there and they decide to do something with Shakti 180 and partner up with you, schedule their 3 for free party. So that way, they're getting their products for free. The next thing that you want to do in SDP is share the products. You want to become your best customer. Neri's back there, and so is Ling. Neri is a master in qualification, master coordinator in qualification, and one of her senior executive coordinators, the way she came into the business was she went to Neri's house for something else. And when she was there, she used the bathroom and she went to wash her hands. She found out that Neri was using Shakti products, began to ask about it. And now, of course, Ling is going to Paris with us. She's been to the Mayan Riviera, all kinds of fun stuff. So make certain that you Shaktiize your home. Be a product of the product. It's the best way to share it. Learn how to share, not sell, by using our tools, our marketing tools. Also, sell your results. Testimonials are very powerful. Neri does a great job. She's got her iPad, and in her iPad, she's got all of these pictures before and after. They're making all the difference in the world. Of course, we know the importance of the product kit, especially with the brand new promotions right now. It's the ability to make a lot more money, not one time, but continuously. And of course, teach people how to get theirs for free. And when you do this, and you not only do it one level, but you take it to multiple levels, what you are doing now, you are teaching people how to get it through more levels, and you're creating more personal group volume. If you went out and you worked on that 3rd level in helping those people get their products for free, you would literally have 27 customers. And those 27 customers, there's a part missing on this particular one. Those 27 customers that you have right here, at 200 PV each, if they're on the turnaround kit, that's 5,400 PGV. The day after 5,400 PGV director is coming to Shakti, even if it's just the 100, the lean and healthy kit. 27 customers, that are there because you got 13 that are getting it for free. That's 2,700 PGV. That's powerful. It makes it a lot easier to qualify when you use this. The 3rd part of the formula, show the plan. I have a yellow pad presentation that I use. I call it my napkin presentation, my yellow pad presentation, and I can show it anywhere, anytime. And when you learn how to do this, right, that's when the business becomes powerful for you. I started sharing the plan my 2nd day in the business. And people ask all the time, how did you know how to share the plan your 2nd day in the business? I didn't. But in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. People I showed it to, they weren't looking at all the details and trying to remember it. The next piece is the importance of the events. Learn how to sell the program. The programs are the events. Those are the one-on-ones. You're going to need your upline's help initially. Learn about the webinars, the conference calls that are going on. The company puts together some great conference calls. Every Monday we have the success calls, right? We have the recorded calls that are archived. Learn how to use these. Learn how to use the webinars, because those are events. And of course, your local meetings or trainings. And it's so important that you always attend the meetings, that you attend the trainings, whether you have new people or not. Again, we do group Shakti 180 parties. I'm going to suggest that you find out people in your area that are doing Shakti and have group Shakti 180 parties. They're a lot of fun. And that way, instead of having a party with just 2 new people, if you have 3 or 4 people that are joining together and doing the group turnaround parties, Now, if each person just has 2, now you've got 10, 15 people at these parties. They're very, very powerful. So local meetings or trainings, regional conference, and of course, global conference. Next year, Long Beach, California. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna suggest that some of you go on out and buy 10 tickets right now. Commit to 10 tickets right now so that you'll have 10 new people at Global Conference next year. If you make that commitment, guaranteed, you will have the number of people that you need to take your business to a whole new level. And when you do STP 1 through 4 correctly, when you're able to do this, STP 5 happens on its own. So you do 1, you do 2, 3, and 4. STP 5 is stuff thy pocket. Okay? You're going to stuff thy pocket when you learn how to do this and you teach your people to duplicate and do this again and again. You see, success training, it doesn't end. Success training is a continuous process. And what you've got to do every single day, you want to demand the best that life has to offer you. Never limit yourself. You see, every dream, every thought, every idea was given to you by a higher power that knew when he gave you this dream, thought, or idea that you could accomplish anything that you want to do. So never limit yourself. Here's the formula. You got to dream big. Start off by dreaming big. There's magic in big dreams. Next, you want to put legs on those dreams with action. Then you're going to strengthen the legs with knowledge. Apply knowledge with wisdom. That means learning from other people. That's why these workshops are so important. You're learning from other people's experience. Season it with patience. Wrap it up with determination and a deep belief in yourself. When you have done this, when you master this formula, success is yours. At this point, mankind becomes your business. You don't have to worry about looking for customers. They will go out and they will find you. The world becomes your office, and God remains your boss. Don't forget that one, okay? Thank you, everyone. It's been an absolute privilege and a pleasure to be here with you. And next, what I get to do, I get to invite someone. I told you a little bit about some of the training that we're doing through Shackley, and it's been absolutely phenomenal. I mean, it's going to go ahead and make us a company that stands out above all others. So it's very exciting training. If you ever get a chance to, catch the Sherloss training by all, do whatever you have to do to be there. And one of the people that I had the opportunity to meet through that training was the next speaker, Miss Jen Morris. And Jen has done an absolutely great job. She's from New York. And so, she's just nonstop all the time. And so right now what I want to do is I want to turn it over to my great friend, Jen Morris. Jen, come on up here. Take care, everyone.
Show me what I'm looking for.
I get another hug.
Thank you. How you guys doing? Awesome. So as Carlos said, I'm from New York City. So even though I'm originally from Ohio, I've picked up New York City fast talking habits. And I was told in the last one I did, the Ohio region actually, ironically, that I was talking too fast. So if you ever need me to slow down, just be like, slow down. And I just heard we're ahead of schedule, so I'll take a little more time. But I'm really excited to be here. I'm honored to follow Carlos Blanco. I did not become a master coordinator in 4 months. I'm most excited to be here because I'm going to have the honor of bringing up one of my first level fast trackers, Rebecca, in a little bit, and you'll really get to hear from someone who got Shackley and got how to build an organization much faster than I ever did and has taught me a lot. So I'm really excited to welcome her in a few minutes. So I'm here today to talk about priorities. And it's humbling because it's something that I really had to, it was, excuse the joke, but it was a tough, Shackley pill to swallow for me. When I was, first introduced to Shackley, I really came in because of the products. I had some health needs, and the business was really interesting to me, but at the time I was working on another dream of being a stage actress, a musical theater actress in New York City. And I'd had some success in it, but my heart wasn't really in it as much as it used to be. But when I was kind of getting all this up and running, I was trying to balance a lot of different things and juggle a lot of different jobs and a lot of different, schedules. And my Shackley business was not a priority. It was kind of down here. And my business reflected that. And when I was able to really get clear on a couple of things, by coming to conference and continuing that journey of self-development, personal development, I was able to start to really make Shackley up here, and my business went from here to here. So that's been exciting. But I want to ask you guys, the hardest part of working for yourself, what do you think it is? Time management. What else? Abilities, right. I actually think it's working for yourself, which is all those other things, right? Trying to manage your time, trying to handle stress, trying to handle family, and all these other things, and making time for all of this. And you heard Carlos Cortez close the general session yesterday, and he talked about firing his boss. And he actually gave that talk and told me that story a couple years ago at another conference I was at. And I remember going home and calling my mom after that conference and just going on and being really excited. And she's like, Jen, it sounds like you're kind of having like a religious experience here. And I'm like, I'm going to fire my boss, all 6 of them, because I had like 6 jobs at the time that I was juggling. And, so that was really exciting for me. But, the downside of that is that a lot of us do well in JOBs because we have a boss that we're reporting to. It's so much easier to report to somebody who's writing you a check every 2 weeks, right? And paying your health insurance and all those things. And we write our own checks, and that's great. We can give ourselves a raise anytime. We can earn a trip anytime. We can get car money and all these wonderful things that Shackley gives us. But, there's nobody who's, knocking on my door at 9 o'clock every Monday morning and saying, hey, Jen, get to your desk. We have to develop that from within ourselves, and that can be hard to do. But really, I like to say something's always got to give. You got to give up to get. It's just with anything in life. If you're an athlete, when I was an actor, I sacrificed a lot. When you're a parent, you have a baby, you're giving up a lot, right? I was told very early on, trade TV for PV. Have you heard that before? Yeah. So I took that to heart. Literally, I do not own a television. Don't own one. Got rid of it a couple years ago. And, I still on occasion, I'll watch a Netflix or I'll get on Hulu or something. I actually have a guilty pleasure of Nashville, the show Nashville. So it's kind of fun to be here. But I do it when my work is done. I do it when I want to just kind of, zone out for a little bit of time on like a Sunday night or something. And that's been something that I've really had to, exercise that muscle and let go of that. As Carlos talked about, you have to really get clear on your why. It was very easy for me to let go of television when my why and my vision for Shackley was so strong. I knew I was not going to get where I wanted to be if that's where my time was going, into things like that. So I'm going to really make a request of all of you to, before this session wraps up or before 5 o'clock hits today, that you write down one thing that you're willing to give up to get to your next goal in the next 3 months. Whatever that goal is, maybe it's rank, maybe it's helping another person become a director, maybe some of you are in a fast track qualification mode, maybe it's taking, we have all these amazing incentives, you can make so much income in the next, month, even with all these power up bonuses. So, but again, it's not going to just happen. Unfortunately, there's no magic, Shackley pill that we can take that makes our businesses, grow. I wish there was, right? That'd be great. So, you have to really give something up. So, and then turn to somebody sitting next to you or your upline. Tell your upline and your downlines, if you have downlines here, what you're going to do, what you're going to sacrifice. It's really important to kind of not only tell yourself, but to let other people know so they can actually hold you accountable. That's really important. So, what is accountability? Accountability is a word we use a lot in my organization, and the definition really is an obligation or willingness, I really say and willingness, to accept responsibility and to account for one's actions. And I, really believe that I cannot expect other people to be accountable to me or to their business if I'm not accountable as well to myself and to my business and to my team. So that's really, really important. So one of the things that I love to do to be accountable and to sort of prioritize and track goals and everything is to use trips. Does anyone here like to travel? Does anyone here like to travel when Shackley pays for it? Yeah. So those who know me know that I love incentive trips. I almost fell out of my seat when they announced Bali yesterday. I'm so excited. I've had an amazing privilege to go to Kenya last year. I'm going to Paris in a couple of weeks and taking 2 teams with me, which is even better. And I say that because a couple years ago I was at these conferences and I was watching everyone parade across stage going on these amazing trips and everything, and I was like, oh, that'd be kind of fun. And I really committed to doing it. And the first thing I had to do was learn how to actually earn the trips. 4 years into Shackley, and I never really bothered to look and learn how to earn a trip. Get honest with yourself right now, if that's something you don't know. Good, monitor just went blank, came back. It's good. So I learned it, and now my favorite thing to do is, when I have somebody in my team who's like, how do I do this and everything, I whip out a piece of paper, yellow pad like Carlos has, and I do, month 3, month 5, month 7, rank advancement. I know the points very quickly, and we can track. And I love it because, the trip is the target, right? The trip is a tangible, awesome experience that you're going to have. But the real reward is the growth that is inevitably going to happen in your business if you go for a trip. So whether you get the trip or not, sometimes things are going to happen, right? And you might not get it. You might come, just a little bit short. There's always another one. That's the best part about Shackley. There's always another trip. But also, your business is bound to grow. Right? So I decided I was going to go for Paris again because I was like, even if I don't get it, I'm still going to increase my income. I'm going to help other people increase their income. I'm going to get some fast track matching bonuses. I'm going to, add 2 new first levels to my organization. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? Nothing. So it's also something that is really, it's a tangible, easy system that is done for you. So for those of you who aren't really good at organization, which is not my strong suit, so it's okay, they have it in your back office. There's a system. It's very easy. They track it all for you. So it's a really easy way to, on a monthly basis, be able to check in and see where you are. And also annually to kind of compare where you are over the years. You really have to start really doing that so you can make a plan for the coming year. So, and again, how can I go and tell downlines and prospects and my team, you can go to Mexico, you can go to Bali, if they're like, well, are you going to do it? No. Nah. Who cares if I want to go? We have to inspire others to want these things and be able to teach them how to do them. That's leadership to me, right? And a car, same thing with car bonuses and all these power-up bonuses. Learn them because that's the only way we can really share them. So it's also about creating other systems that work for you. So in addition to trips, I have weekly and daily systems I use to track goals, constantly updating my goals. And again, I can't ask a builder or a downline to do something that I personally won't do for myself. So a couple things that I do. I have a whiteboard. I have 2 whiteboards. I have a small whiteboard that I'll do number crunching and everything on. Then I have a big one, like a dry erase board. And I have a couple different color markers. And at the beginning of every month, I have the top of the board. I have sponsoring, personal and group, goals and members. I have a PGV goal. I have OV goal. I have outside largest leg. For those of you who are working or on fast track or working toward a higher rank, you need to start looking at your outside OV, which is important. I have all those things written there, and I update it. So I have one that's blank, and then I have one that's the goals. And as I get a new member, then I put a little hash mark, and it's really fun to do that. And then below it, I have names, my list, right? So I have my long, long list that I've had for 6 years that I keep adding to, and then I have the month list, and I have red are the people that are that are close, that are. Maybe a second appointment, a second date, kind of thing, or they're coming to something and they're ready to get going, and we're doing that. Middle blue or green you can use are the people who are a little cooler, who they're interested. Maybe you have a meeting coming up, and I put the date of when that's happening. Maybe they're coming to an event that you're having or 180 party, but they're leaning toward you. They're showing some interest. And then the names in black are the people who I haven't reached out to yet, but I'm going to. And so you want to have obviously a written version or an Excel spreadsheet, whatever it is that you want to use, right? But I also have that because there's nothing more satisfying than erasing that name and putting them up in the sponsored category. It's really awesome. And I'm a visual person. So know how you learn and create systems that will support that. Also, we are huge on accountability calls. Anybody here on a weekly accountability call? Oh, man. Fewer hands in the last room. All right, so this is something that I was brought up with in Shackley. I'm part of the Tuvell organization. Accountability calls were always where it was at. So this is something that I hope that now you can all take and go out. And we're gonna demo one in a little bit with Rebecca here. So will that be helpful for you to actually hear what an accountability call sounds like? Awesome. So what it is it's me and I have some for my builders, and I have some with my leaders, and I have one that I do with my upline. So as a senior executive coordinator, I still am accountable every single week to somebody. And it's a quick, 30-minute call. Everyone gets 2 minutes to do their report, and you're reporting on things. You're saying, this is what I said I was going to, these are my monthly goals and numbers. This is what I said I was going to do last week. This is what I did. This is the outcome. This is what I'm doing next week. These are the names that I'm calling, specific names of people. It forces you to actually do stuff during the week when you know you have to tell somebody the next Monday morning or whatever that is, right? Now, there are probably some of you who are like, I don't have an upline who's involved, I don't have any builders, I'm brand new. That's okay. Turn to the person next to you, get on Sharing Shackley on Facebook, say, I'm looking for an accountability buddy. You can be in New York and have an accountability partner in California. You got to find a time that you commit to every single week that you get on there and you report even if you did nothing. Okay? Because what it does, it helps you track your weekly and your monthly goals. It gives you the big and the small picture, and if you have downlines working with you, it does two things. It helps you manage expectations and troubleshoot. So when I say managing expectations, I mean we've all been there where either you or you have a builder who's saying, you know, I want to be director this month, I want to be director this month, and then midway through the month, they've talked to one person, right? And they made a lot of excuses. And so if I'm hearing this on a report, on a call, I'm able to take them aside and say, hey, listen, can we have an honest conversation? You know, what I heard you say was that you wanted to be a director this month. Your activity really isn't reflecting what it takes to be a director. So we have two options. We can re-examine that goal, put a larger timeline in place, or we can get busy. And the other thing is if I have someone who's saying, you know, I've talked to 30 people this week and no one is doing anything, then it allows me to be like, all right, let's back up and let's hear what's really going on. Because if you're talking to 30 people, some sponsoring should be happening too. So it allows me to get in and troubleshoot. And we're really big on gratitude too. The first thing we start every call with is what I'm grateful for this week. And it can be anything. It doesn't have to be Shackley related. That's really important. And you know, it helps you to prioritize the biggest thing. And this, I went down this dark, dark hole, you know, a year ago when I had a big growth spurt. So I became a manager, and I became a motivational speaker, and I became a therapist. And that is not our job. It's not. We are not here to manage. That's what a boss does. We are not anyone's boss. And I really believe we're not here to motivate. I think that we can inspire and coach people based on our own personal success and work ethic, but motivation has to come from within you. You have to find that motivation, and you can do that if you get really clear on what that why is and what that vision is and have some goals to back it up. And lastly, before I bring Rebecca up here, this is something that Jenny Oates, I'm sure all of you know Jenny Oates from Nashville. She's a good friend of mine. And we talk, and that's what's so great about Shackley. You know, we have no financial benefit from each other, you know, but I admire her. And so we talk, and I was talking to her a couple months ago, and we were talking about some stuff, and I was, you know, just the, you know, ups and downs of business and leadership. And she goes, Jen, you can't hatch a builder. I was like, what do you mean, hatch? She goes, you know, you find somebody and you're like, this is the person. This is the one that's going to be my Carlos Blanco, my master coordinator in 4 months. And you go and you sit on them. 4 months later, well, I haven't really called anybody yet, you know. And you put all of your eggs into one basket and you miss out on so many other people along the way. You cannot hatch a builder. You can't do it. So a way to gauge this, if someone is not willing to be accountable to me from the get-go, they don't get my energy. They get love, they get support, they get friendship, but they have to be willing to match my energy. Does that make sense? And so you have to be clear in your expectations as well. If I have somebody new who's saying they're going to do all this and they want all this help and they want me to go and do one-on-ones with them, then I'm clear that part of that to me is being accountable, being on a call every week, being on training calls, being in communication with me. If they can't do that, that's a sign of something that they might not be willing to do for themselves. So, someone who is definitely not someone I had to hatch was my partner in crime here, Rebecca Static. Give her a big round of applause. So, Rebecca Static is a native New Yorker, grew up in New York City, and she and her husband Jed joined Shackley just about 2.5 years ago. Introduction made through a customer of mine. So those members can literally be gold. And when I met Rebecca, she had a successful health coaching practice. She was newly pregnant and was really looking for just a way to augment her existing practice with a couple of products and find some good prenatals to use for herself, for her own pregnancy. Wasn't really interested in organization, was kind of like, I don't know, this whole multi-level marketing thing, not sure if it's for me, but the products seemed great. Fortunately, she loved the products, and the convention was in DC that year, so it was a 4-hour drive from us. So I dragged an 8-month pregnant woman to DC, reluctantly, and she then in turn dragged her very reluctant husband with her. And it was really at that conference that she really got clear on really what Shackley could be, not only for herself, but for her now almost 2-year-old Olivia and for her husband, and realized that what that vision was going to take a lot of work to help her achieve that. So I'm so thrilled to have Rebecca up here to share what that kind of realization was, and then her top 3 tips for all of you sitting out there being like, I want to be Rebecca Sadik-Blumenfeld next year, and how you really can do it.
Sure, thanks, Jen. So how's everyone doing today? Thank you. Is everyone doing good? Having a good time so far? Good. So 2 years ago, or almost to the day, I found myself in Washington, D.C. at a conference. And I loved the products, but hadn't yet connected with the business part of it. But very soon after being there, I had a realization, which was that I had no vision. I had no why. I didn't know why I wanted to build a business, so of course I wasn't building one. And it was there that I realized that Shackley could be a vehicle for me and my family to reach our goals and our dreams. And that was really amazing. It was an amazing moment. We also had the opportunity to talk to people who had been in the business 20, 30, 40 years. We realized that this business had longevity, and that was huge for us too. So we got home. We were excited. Like, conference is exciting, right? Are you guys excited? So it's exciting. But then we realized that we actually had to do the work. And we wanted to do fast track. We had committed to that verbally. Me and my husband had said, we're going to do this fast track thing. And so we really sat down and we came up with 3 things that we were really going to do to make this happen. And I'm going to share those with you guys. So the first thing was that we were going to make our Shackley business a priority. We had really big goals, so it had to be high on our priority list. We made a decision that our top priority was going to be our family. That was the most important thing to us. But right underneath that, we put our Shackley business. We were serious about it. If it had been down here, there's no way that we would be going to Paris this year and achieve many of the other wonderful things that we've been able to achieve. So what priority looked like for us at the time was Jed would come home from work. He has a full-time job. And I would pass him the baby. And sometimes I would go into the city to do meetings, or I would go to my desk and I would make phone calls all night, because this was a priority for us. The second thing that we realized really quickly was that we needed to get really comfortable with being uncomfortable. It's true. And that's really because this was uncharted territory for us. We had no experience in this industry. I had a little bit of sales experience, but sales is not Shackley. So we really looked at what it was that made us feel uncomfortable. We wrote it down, and we started doing it. So for me, that was, funny enough, public speaking. It gave me massive anxiety to show a presentation to a room full of people about content that I wasn't that clear on. So I did it, and I did it over and over again. So really what I did was I put myself in this zone of discomfort, and I just stood there until it felt kind of comfortable. So that was really, really important for us. So I encourage all of you guys to think of one thing right now that makes you extremely uncomfortable. Write it down, and when you go home, really do it. And then the third thing was that we decided we were going to make no excuses. We had a lot of excuses we could have made. We gave birth to our first child and moved into our first home in the same month. And that same month, we also advanced in rank. And that's because we had decided to make our business a priority. We decided to get a little bit uncomfortable, and we decided that we were going to make absolutely no excuses. So I want to go to Bali. Do you guys want to go to Bali next year? Yeah? Me too. So I'm going to commit to doing all of this over again. I'm going to do those 3 things all over again, and I hope you guys do them with me, because I would love to celebrate in Bali with all of you guys.
Awesome. Thank you. Don't you all want 3 of her? So we talked about those accountability calls, and I think it might be helpful to actually hear one up in action, yeah? Cool. All right, so Rebecca is actually going to do, in front of a lot of people, a real version of what our accountability call would be on a weekly basis based on her activity last week and coming into this week. So, Rebecca, what's up?
What's up, Dad?
We're here for our weekly accountability call. Just
I
you and
can't
me.
wait.
Just you and me and a couple hundred people. It's a new month, so everything's kind of back to zero, and I know you have a lot of big goals. So I'd love to hear, first of all, what you're grateful for, and then what are your monthly goals, and then what do you have from last week, and what do you have coming up this week?
Great. So I am so grateful to be here with you and much of our team and be inspired and motivated. And my goal for this month is to start working towards Key Coordinator. My sponsoring goal for this month is 10 new members and 3 new golds. So far I've sponsored 1 new member and no golds. And my PGV goal for the month is 5,000. My OV goal for the month is 35,000. I'm currently at 200 PGV and about 1,100 OV and 600 outside volume. And this past week, I did 5 meetings. 3 of them were more product focused, and 2 of them were about the business. One of them actually signed on as a gold, but that counted for last month because that was July.
Still good. We'll take
Good,
it.
thanks. Up this coming week, I'm going to do some goal planning sessions with my team since we're all excited about going to Bali and conference. And I have a couple meetings set up with some new prospects. And I'm still working on a few other things as well.
Awesome.
Thanks.
So what if you had to do that every single week? Do you think you'd grow? Do you think you'd take advantage of all these power-up bonuses and everything? Right? It also breeds this sort of healthy competition with your group. You know, it keeps people on their toes. It keeps people really wanting to work and partner with each other and creates a really awesome team environment as well. So I really hope this has been helpful for you guys. Give Rebecca a round of applause. She's an amazing public speaker.
Thank you, guys.
And speaking of amazing public speakers, it's my honor to bring up our last speaker. She is a senior executive coordinator from the great state of Michigan. She is also a fierce leader and mother and an amazing athlete. So please give it up to Pam Otto.
So time management, as I said, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Pre-Shackley, time management was not my gift, was not my strength at all. But when I started looking at Shackley, started setting my goals, I made a lot of mistakes along the way. But with the goal that I set, I got really, really good at time management. Because you have to. You have to. That's important. So about 2.5 years ago, my husband Drew and I joined Shackley. And we set our goals very quickly. When we saw what the Dream Plan had to offer, what Fast Track had to offer, we knew we needed to be strategic with our time and we needed to dive into this. There was a little tricky problem, was finding the time to build the Shackley business. My husband worked over 40 hours a week. I was working part-time in an orthodontic practice. I race as a triathlete at an elite level, which in essence is a part-time job as well. And then we have these 2 amazing daughters that are very, very active in sports. In fact, I say my home office is actually inside my car as I'm driving my children from each sporting event to each practice to each game, and I know many of you can probably relate to that as well. So Drew and I needed to sit down, and we need to be very strategic about where we were going to manage our time to build this business, to reach the goals that we've set. It was within reach, and we knew we were going to go after that. So we laid out our plan of action. And that is exactly what we do with each new person that we bring in our organization. And this is something that my entire team does as well. When you sit down with that new person, as you're setting their goals, you're going to lay out a plan of action that's going to fit their goals. And one of the first basic fundamentals of time management and getting that new person going is creating their calendar. This is vital to their plan of action. You need to be able to view your day, your week, and your month and know where you're going. And then you need to remember that you own your calendar. Don't let your business take that over. You need to stay in control of that calendar the entire time. If this is something that you haven't done yet, I encourage you to do this. And this is exactly what we do when we're bringing in the new person into our organization. We sit down and we ask them. And we have them mark each one of these in their calendar when we're creating their game plan. When can you work your Shackley business? When can't you work your Shackley business? When won't you? And when will you work your business? So when I can work my business, we know that we are all looking for little pockets of time to build our business, right? So it could be on the way into work, grabbing a cup of coffee with someone, showing them the Shackley opportunity. It could be over your lunch hour, grabbing a lunch with someone, showing the opportunity there, or you may look at your evenings as being your free time. Mark that in your calendar. It needs to be there when I can't work my business. This could be during your 8 to 5 job or whenever you're working. You may not be able to work your business. During your children's sporting events or extracurricular activities. Mark that in your calendar when you cannot work that. And then when you won't. Maybe date night. Or for me, when I'm training for my triathlons. During training, that is not when I'm working my business. And then when I will work my business. And that leads you right into your mindset. This is when I decided that I was going to do this and I was going to make it happen. So what I started to do was surround myself by doers. I was on the hunt for like-minded people that were doers, that were overachievers, that wanted to build a business. The best part about Shackley is you own your own business. So you get to actually pick and choose who you want to work with. So I wanted people in my team that when we set a goal, we achieve it. We accept nothing less. And that's what we're looking for. That's exactly what Jen found in Rebecca as well. And then that leads us into one of our first basic fundamentals, is prioritizing. It allows you to allocate your time where it's needed most. So you need to look at your organization and where is the growth happening? Where is the fire happening? Where is the action? That is where you need to be. That is where your time needs to be spent. A lot of times we go over here and we spend our time with the folks that aren't doing anything right now. And we're trying to bring them to life. We're pouring into them because we know they can do it, just like Jen talked about. You sit on them and you spend all this time right here when the fire's over here. Guess what? They're going to see the momentum and the fire and the excitement. These folks over here are going to want a piece of this. So you're allocating your time where the fire is, where the growth is. You need to be there. Prioritizing brings order to chaos. My husband is the best person that keeps me in check. If I'm not prioritizing, he can call me out on it in a heartbeat. He takes one look at my face, and when I am all over the board and there is mass chaos going on in my life, he asks me, have you prioritized your day? Have you prioritized your week? In fact, I haven't if I have that look on my face. It moves you towards success instead of drowning. There is nothing worse than trying to keep your head above water, right? When you just have that sense of trying to tread water, keep your head there. Don't go there. Don't let your team go there and get in that position. It's going to create calmness in your business so that you can focus on what makes your business grow. And we're going to talk about that growth in just a minute. That leads us into our to-do list. This is the key to efficiency. Your business cannot be productive or efficient without a to-do list. I know I don't have time to waste, and I know none of you have time to waste either. So you need to do that to-do list. It's going to keep you focused. If I lose my focus, my goal is not reachable anymore. It's going to keep you reliable. If you say that you're going to do something in your organization, you need to make sure you do it. If you promise someone you're going to do a home meeting for them, do that event. Make sure you're reliable to your team as well. If it's not on your list, you may forget that you made that promise. It allows you to focus time on your high-value activities. And we're going to talk a little bit more on those high-value activities in just a minute. And then you need to make sure that you're listing those, prioritizing those to-do lists from urgency or important all the way down. This is going to make you a more productive and more valuable person to your team. And I encourage you, go home, look throughout your organization, and look and see if you have some leaders or some new folks in your team that have that look on their face, and dive into their business. I guarantee you they're not prioritizing. I guarantee you they're not making to-do lists. These sound very, very basic, but I know I wasn't doing them, and that gave me that sense of drowning, trying to keep my head above the water. The moment I changed that and implemented these basic things, my business changed. You need your leaders to be productive, not trying to keep their head above water. Once you get your business organized, you've got your time management, that is where you truly can then turn to the beef of your business. the growth of your business, where it all happens. Home meetings. This is the lifeline to your business. When you are sitting down with that new person, and whenever we do this in my organization, we are making sure that we set that next home meeting right away. You're going to get a date on that calendar, and you want to make that home meeting sometime next week. Don't make the mistake of saying to that new person, something I want you to think about is maybe doing a home meeting in the near future. Look at what Shackley just announced. Look at the promotions they gave us. You need to get this new person off to a fast start. Get them making money, because the excitement is going to continue when they start making money. And then you need to say, like I said, get the date set. We've just walked through with this person when they can work their business. Look at their calendar with them. You see the openings that they've created because they've marked their calendar out, and pick a date with them right there on that spot. Get that home meeting set. One-on-ones. These are my absolute favorite. Why? They're interactive. You get to find out every person's wants, needs, desires from that one-on-one. And you should get 100% successful during a one-on-one, because you get to ask questions on these. Three-way calls. These are so important. My team is amazing at doing three-way calls. Third-party validation. Make sure you're doing these in your organization. They work. They're powerful. Make sure you're doing them. Make sure the new person knows how to do a three-way call, so that when they get in that situation, they know what to do. But when I'm sitting down with someone and talking through products with someone, they may have a lot of questions. I may have the answers. But what I'm going to do is call my upline in and let them answer some of those questions. I'm going to call in Debbie Underwood or Jennifer Glacken and pull them into the conversation on the products that we're diving into. I'm going to bring in the experts. Third-party validation is powerful. I may be sitting down, showing someone the business opportunity. We're diving into the comp plan. We're diving into fast track. I'm going to take that moment to call up Tony Underwood or Jennifer Glacken at that moment and let them walk through possibly a piece of the comp plan with me. This shows that new person that's sitting across from the table is, we're a team. Look at the help I have. I'm not doing this alone, and they're not going to do this alone. So make sure you utilize those three-way calls. If you notice there's not growth going on in your business, the first thing that you get to go back to is your calendar that you've marked. How many times are you showing the plan every week? Are you doing a combination of those first three things we just talked about? You need to make sure that you're doing any of those three combinations at least 5 times a week. Some of you may be doing way more than that. Some of you may be saying, I just don't know why I can't hit that next rank. Well, look at your calendar. The calendar doesn't lie. It's going to tell you exactly what you're doing. Follow-ups, we hear it all the time, 24 to 48 hours. Make sure you get them when they're excited. Don't lose that excitement. That is crucial in your follow-up. Trainings, Carlos talked about it. We're here. You've gotten your team here. We have our regional meetings. You have trainings going on in your organization. Make sure you attend those. Even if you've been in Shackley for 20 years, if there's a webinar going on or a training call, you need to be there. Show your team that you're there. And then duplication. I think this is the most important piece of the puzzle, and I know many leaders out in the audience would agree with me on this. It's duplication, duplication, duplication. This is where it happens as well. Duplicating the process in your organization allows you to build accountable leaders. You need to make sure that everybody is doing the exact same thing that you're doing. You all need to be doing the same home meeting. You all need to be showing the business presentation or a one-on-one the exact same way. Everybody in your organization can't be doing something different, because that's going to teach confusion to that new person when they come into the organization. If you are all doing the same process throughout your entire organization, you are going to build an extremely strong organization from the top all the way to the bottom. The sharper their focus, the more it's going to produce results. And our end goal should always be creating as many leaders in depth that duplicate in process. Like I said, all the way from the top, all the way to the bottom. And this is going to create that right frame of mind. People only go as far as they think they can. You need to challenge them. You need to lead them. And if they're all doing the right activities and following the process, You're all going to reap all the rewards. Thank you so much for listening, and please make sure you introduce yourself and say hi over the next couple days.